Countess Elizabeth Bathory, the female Dracula, was a Hungarian countess born August 7, 1560, into the esteemed Bathory family. She is known by names such as the Blood Countess or the Blood Lady of Chait, and may be the most productive female serial killer in history.
Bathory was married at a very early age of 15 to Count Ferenc Nadasdy. Due to his occupation as a soldier, Nadasdy was away frequently. Bathory was left in charge of the Nadasdy family estate where her sadistic hobby began.
Countess Bathory was truly sadistic, not only punishing people for breaking her rules, but torturing and killing victims for her own sick pleasure. Some notable techniques she was known to use included sticking pins in parts of the body that are sensitive and even stripping her victims, putting them out into the winter snow, and pouring water on them until they froze to death.
Bathory and her accomplices had several methods of torture for their poor victims. Beatings that led to death, burning of hands, face, and other areas of the body, biting flesh off the victims, freezing them to death, fatal surgeries, starvation, and sexual abuse.
Bathory wasn't alone in her cruel world. Her husband joined in along with Anna Dracula, Bathory's main crime associate, Erzy Majarova, who replaced Dracula after her death, Dorotoya Synthesis, also known as Dorka, Ilona Jo, Katarina Benica, and Jano Suvari, also known as Ibis or Fico. Nadasdy, besides joining in his wife's violent behavior, actually showed Bathory new methods of torture, such as their summer version of freezing the victims. They would cover the victims in honey and leave them outside to be attacked by insects and bitten to death. Majarova is quite possibly Bathory's ultimate downfall. She gave Bathory the idea to victimize those of noble birth along with the servant girls. This brought about official inquiries that several young noble women were disappeared after being last seen with Bathory.
December 19, 1610, Bathory was arrested and placed on trial, which was mainly for show. A couple of weeks later, on January 7, 1611, another trial was held. During this trial, a registry with names of the 650 victims written in Bathory's handwriting was brought from her living quarters for evidence. The sentences for all involved were based on their roles in the crimes. All were executed except for Bathory herself, since she was high in social status. She was sentenced to solitary confinement for the rest of her life. She died 3 years later on August 21, 1614, and buried in the Bathory lands at Exit.
Besides her famous tortures and other acts of violence, Bathory was accused of draining her victims of their blood and bathing in it to retain her young looks and beauty. This and occasionally biting the flesh of her victims for the blood during torture earned her the label of vampire.
All records pertaining to Elizabeth Bathory were locked away for over a century, and her name was not to be spoken in Hungarian society.
Bathory wasn't alone in her cruel world. Her husband joined in along with Anna Dracula, also known as Dorka, during torture earned her the label of vampire.
Why is it closed? Shouldn't it unclose when I turn it on?
Mojarova, it's quite possible.
Boy. Wait, I can't see the poker.
Hey, don't tell me!
Empty.